Hey, everyone that's already been watching us, I want to introduce you to Angela and Jim. They're one of our amazing host families in Kentucky. And you just let a big piece of your heart go back to Italy, didn't you?
Yes, very much. Yes.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the student you hosted this year and what made her so awesome, because I've heard some wonderful things about her.
Well, Gaia, we had started off with having 4 or 5 students that we looked at all their profiles and all their interests and likes and so forth, and then we kind of myself and Angela and her daughter Nikki kind of looked them all over, and then we kind of rated them our favorites.
Okay.
And we sort of exchanged them back and forth, and the 3 of us agreed on Gaia as far as our likes. So it's
Good.
kind of a little bit of a process of elimination and things that they liked, activities that they could get involved in, her likes, and then matching up with our likes.
Okay.
So
Good.
that was the one thing that we all agreed on. We were like, all the arrows pointed towards her. So then we just kind of discarded everybody else as it kind of went along.
Good.
So,
Good.
and that was exciting for us because neither one of us revealed what the other one was thinking, or who the other one's favorite was.
Okay. So she was hands down the winner. That is
Yes.
awesome. Good.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So how did you first find out about hosting? How did you first hear that there was even a thing about exchange students or that we were needing families?
Well, our person contacted us because I am a Girl Scout leader here in Frankfort, Kentucky, and she had a student who wanted to become a Girl Scout. So it turned out that we weren't able to host her because she was already picked for a different family, and then but she had already piqued her interest about becoming a host family.
Okay.
So we contacted her back and said, we know that that student has already found her host family, but we're interested in finding another student for us.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. So you picked out the perfect Italian girl, right?
Yeah.
And then after Sandy, your wonderful LC, walked you through the application process, did you get a chance to talk to her, get to know her a little bit better before she just like showed up at your doorstep?
We did.
Yeah.
We had several months of contact with her and her mom and her dad prior to her coming here. So that was nice.
Yeah,
Good.
we was explaining to her what her room may look like, what how it would be decorated, and kind of asking her input on it, if she liked it, if she didn't like it. Just
Fun.
yeah,
Well, it made it special for her because that
Right.
made it feel like her room. So
right, kind of preparing her so that she didn't hit the ground scared.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
laying the groundwork for the groundwork. If that makes sense.
Okay. And it kind of put her at ease and you at ease both when you got to know her before you went to the airport, right?
Yes.
So what was it like when you did go to the airport? Here you are driving to the airport. You're going to pick up your new Italian daughter. What was going through your mind?
Anxious and nervous,
Uh-huh.
especially, and it's weird. What's weird and it's funny is exciting is that we were all anticipating. So I think we showed up like maybe 2 hours early. And the way that the Bluegrass Airport is designed is that when incoming flights come in, it's on an upper level
Uh-huh.
so that they come down to where you'll meet them. So it's kind of like we're looking at their feet, and then you see their knees, and then you see their middle, and then you see their face.
Just a
So it's
little
like
bit
a
at a
building
time.
anticipation as she was coming. Yeah, but we were so excited to meet her after corresponding and seeing all her pictures
Mhm.
that she sent us.
And she was excited too. As soon as she came down the escalators, we hugged her. She was just excited and ready to go. And she was like that the whole time,
Yeah.
Good.
just ready for every day.
Good. So she was up for whatever adventure you had next then.
We
Yes.
complimented on how brave she was, having to fly all that way
Right.
by herself, because that's huge, to leave the comfort of your family, your home, everything you know, to come here to meet, in essence, strangers.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that's why we tried to comfort her and give her as many reassuring words, and her mother too,
Uh-huh.
leading up to the point when she left to come here. So it
Right.
would be a lot smoother. It'd be easier transition for her.
Yeah, yeah. And that is true, Jim. I mean, exchange students are some of the most courageous people. I mean,
Yeah.
to come to another country and speaking a different language, go to a high school, family you barely know. I mean, they are some brave kids.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
And
true.
I had, for my job, I had made a trip over to Italy, so I was a little bit up on their culture, a little bit, not nearly. I thought I was until we got to talking to her and getting to know her, and then I realized I didn't know anything. She taught us a lot.
Good, good. So, just speaking of that, go ahead and tell me what kind of things have you learned about the country, the culture, the people of Italy?
Well, one of the things that their food. Like I said, I had stayed over there in 2005 for my job. I work for a sunroof company, and I had learned a process for sunroofs that we put a film on glass, and so that if glass was to break, it doesn't shatter in a million pieces. It keeps into one piece. So I had gone to an area over there and worked for a company called Isoclima, and this is in the Monte Grotto area, which is about 50 miles west of Venice.
Okay.
And so when I explained that to Gaia at first, and she goes, I'm not so familiar with that area, but my parents are. I was like, okay. So when we got to looking at a map, when I explained it to her where I was, then she was like, oh, I know where that is. It's a small village, you know. So like I said, I thought I knew everything about Italy. I didn't know anything. But one of the things that she taught us was the difference in the food. I had thought that we get the Americanized version of Fazoli's, of our pizzerias and stuff like that. And one night we were talking about different kind of Italian dishes that we wanted to make for her that we could. And either myself or Angela has suggested taking pasta and putting chicken in it, or with Alfredo sauce. And the look on her face was priceless. And she just looked at us and she said, you put chicken in your pasta? We thought that was normal. No. She said, in Italy, we never do this, or Alfredo sauce. Who knew?
Yeah.
So we all had a laugh about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I hosted an Italian. He's still, huge piece of my heart. And I still keep in touch with him. But that was one of the things I loved about having him, is because he could cook. So that's amazing. So yeah, I learned some recipes from him, but the best part is when he came back and cooked them again, when he came back to visit. So definitely food is part of learning about another culture. So I'm glad you had that experience. It's always fun to share recipes. And Angela, you were telling me that you still are sharing recipes with Gaia. How's that working?
Yes. So while Gaia was here, her dad likes to cook. And so we would meet through Instagram or Skype, and we would just exchange recipes, but we would actually cook together on the phone. And which was a great way for Gaia to get to see her dad and her parents. And then it was good for us too, because we got to learn how to cook. So we still do that. We just cooked with her on Saturday. We made she wanted to cook an American dish, so we made a meatloaf, which they loved. And then we're going to do it again. We cooked 2 weeks ago with her mom. We made a cake. And so we're going to do it again and cook an Italian dish.
Cool. I love that you're exchanging recipes. And just to be clear for any of those that just joined us, Gaia is already back in Italy. And so she is in Italy cooking good old American meatloaf, and she should be cooking the good old Italian food. But anyway, so I love that your family has extended to Italy. You've become friends with her parents now and sharing recipes and culture. So yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, Jim, let me ask you something. A lot of times when we find an amazing host family, the wife is like, on board, we've got to have a student, and the husband's like, I don't know, honey. I faced that. It didn't last long, obviously, or I wouldn't have had 10 students. But
you won over each time.
But Jim, did you have any hesitations as a dad? No,
none whatsoever. No, I had a slight hesitation if it was for a boy, That was my only one, and that I would never want it to be in a odd situation, you know, for nothing against boys, but
Right.
being the fact
But you
that
have
there
a
were two girls.
daughter, so
Yes.
yeah.
So, and to me, it was just the easier transition for Angela and for Nikki. So for me, it was just a no-brainer. But
Right.
no, I had no hesitations. I was very comfortable with it. I was very warm with it. At times, I might even wink, wink, been more excited than Angela about getting it because I've never done it before, and I'd always thought about it. And not only that, I always wanted to become an exchange student myself. So, and the fact that you know, I had been there and I wanted to pick her brains and learn some more about her and give her the opportunity to learn American experience and to, you know, just involve her in every bit as we can with our life here in America and teach her.
Right.
Not only the language, but the culture, the environment, and so much. And like I said, she hit the ground running. She got involved in a lot of stuff while she was here. And now it's like a void that she's not here. I mean,
right.
I mean,
It is a
I
hole in
won't
your
lie
heart.
and just say that I shed some tears. Yes, men do cry, and if they say they don't, they lie. Yes, we do.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, she will be a piece of your family and a piece of your heart forever. There's no doubt there. And you mentioned, Jim, like showing her our culture. Was it neat seeing America through an Italian's eyes?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We were joking about trying to think of something funny. Well, she made it easy for us because as soon as she got here, met her at the airport, we got in the car, put her bags in the car, left the airport. We're about 5 minutes into the car ride, and she looks around and she says, "It is so green here." That was one of the things she noticed first off, of how green the trees, the hills. I don't know if it's not that way there because it's very mountainous, very snowy at times. Probably 9 months out of 12, it's snowy there. But she just loved the green and was amazed by it.
Yeah. It is different. It is. So that's cool. But it's things that we're used to the green. So you know, we kind of take it for granted. And then, yeah, absolutely.
And then about maybe 20 minutes into the car, maybe 15, outside of the little town of Versailles, Kentucky, there is a castle, which a lot of people know about, and you can look it up, the Versailles Castle. And she saw that. She thought, "Oh, my gosh, there's a castle here. Who lives there, a king or queen?" Like, no, really, it's just a bed and breakfast. But the castle just, like, enthralled her. Like, I didn't know Americans had castles.
Yeah. Well, it's a little different than their castles still, I'm sure. We don't have as many either. So good. Did y'all have a lot of families that are interested in hosting worry about discipline issues with the student? Did you have any kind of misunderstandings, discipline issues, anything like that?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Yeah.
We went over the rules from the get-go.
Yep.
And she was agreeable to everything, but we had her part of all the rules, and we asked for her feedback with everything. But most of the rules were the same that she had at home too. And we had no issues at all.
No, she was very quick to volunteer, to help put away the dishes, to help clean up the plates when we were done.
She helped cook.
And help clean and help cook, do the groceries in. This was not even something we had to ask. She generally, she volunteered almost every time on her own.
She definitely felt a part of the family, and we expect our own teenagers to do chores and help out. So we should definitely expect our exchange students to help out as well. So, and then also another thing, and I know you two did it as well, is that expectations worksheet that we offer the host families at the beginning when the student arrives, so that everybody's on the same page and everybody knows what's expected. So I think that definitely helps. Well, tell me a funny story. Tell me something funny that happened when you were hosting her. You can embarrass her if you want to. She may be watching.
I don't think it'd be an embarrassment. It's just that I think that one of the things we got a kick out of is that we try to, at least, if not every night, every other night, play card games, some kind of competitive. And we found out really quick she's competitive, very competitive, and So it took about 10 minutes for her to pick up on the game of Rummy, the card game Rummy. And if you know, with Rummy, there's a certain strategy. Sometimes people will make suits of 8s, or sometimes you'll do like 4, 5, 6, 7 of diamonds and make a row of them. Well, what was funny was that after playing against her a couple of times, I knew Angela's strategy. You know, we're kind of competitive with ourselves. But after about the third game, I realized that Gaia was only doing suits. She would only do spades, hearts, diamonds. She was never doing like 3 8s, 3 kings, nothing like that. So I was like, all right. I started laying more down when I could of kings and aces. And every time she would get so frustrated and laugh at me and say, "You ruined my hand, Jim. You messed my hand up." And she would get so frustrated, but it was in a fun sense.
Right.
Her competitiveness, but we laughed about it every game, was that let's see if we can pick on her. And she would just get so frustrated, but it wasn't anger. It was a fun frustration.
Right.
But yeah, and not only that, but just the look on her face when she saw that it was all green here. I mean, we shared a laugh over that. Certain words, sometimes if she didn't pronounce them right, we would say, "Oh, it's pronounced this way," and then she would laugh at herself. I can't think of any offhand, but she would kind of get a kick at herself about not pronouncing it right. And Angela came up with a good idea. One night we started making flashcards for her on certain bigger words. Like, just off the top, I think one word what we had was atonement, but it looks like at one mint. You know, to her, it looks like 3 separate words, at one mint, but it's atonement. So just different words like that. It was just fun watching her pick up on the language and watching her pick up on the pronunciation and the enunciation on certain words.
She also loved like the fast food restaurants at first. She was just, and there's so many here. I mean, they're all over the place here. And so, she wanted to try them all out, and then she quickly learned if you eat a bunch of fast food, you're going to gain some weight. And she was like, "Okay, we're going on a diet." So we all went on a diet together to lose the weight that she gained. But she was just a lot of fun. It was every day laughing, just fun stuff.
And go ahead, Jim. Were you about to say something?
Oh, I was just going to say, just taking her to the airport was kind of a sad day, and now it's been kind of a little bit of a void without her here because we got kind of used to it. But she grows on you.
They do. They
become one of your own for that time, and now especially when the first time we went to change over her room back to we had it made into an office before, and then it was her room, and now it's back to the office again. So. Yeah, that's been a little tough.
It is. And, the best way you can deal with that is host another one. Kind of, you're gonna have that emptiness. But if you put another one in the house in August, it's not so bad. Have y'all ever thought about hosting again? Maybe in the future? I know you've already made that room into an office now, Angela. You said you're having to work from home right now. So,
yes. But we have thought about it. Funny thing with Gaia too is she was like, "I would be jealous." We did it again. So we have thought about it too, but I don't know with it being this year with COVID-19, but it was rough just to have it cut short and to send her home and just not knowing. But I'm glad she's home safe, and we're still in contact, and so.
And hopefully she'll be back to visit and cook.
That's the plan. Her parents want to come and visit, and they also want my daughter to go and stay with them too. So, so yes, all of that's going to happen, and that's what got us going. Or just helped us with this whole process. Is we know that it was not a forever goodbye.
Right. Yes, absolutely not. It's great that you have so many ways to keep in touch with the students.
Yes.
So that's great. You mentioned your daughter. Tell me about Nikki. What was Nikki's relationship like with Gaia? Was there ever any jealousy, any kind of arguments? What was their relationship? Because they're similar in age, right?
Yes, they're a year difference in age, so they're 16 and 17. But they had just they have an amazing relationship. It took a little bit at first to grow, because Nikki was very involved in sports. She had volleyball season, so she was at practice a lot. And then Gaia, she went into a lot of sports, so she was in practice a lot. And then after the fall season sports stopped, they were together a lot, and we started going on vacations and trips together and just sharing those experiences. They became so close.
Good.
And it was just a great experience for them. And they are like sisters now, because Gaia was an only child and my daughter's an only child. So they were like the sisters that they just never had, but they do now. So
Yeah,
we love it.
good. And we mentioned about Gaia's English, and y'all tried to challenge her with some new words. I assume her English improved while she was here?
Oh, yes, yes. She spoke very well when she came here.
Oh yeah.
We thought. Now
Yeah.
she didn't.
Mhm.
And at first, there were times where we had to get the phones out to try to figure out what the words were in translation. But that only happened the first couple of weeks. And then, I mean, we thought she did an amazing job.
Yeah, her enunciation started really good, and it got excellent.
Jim would
By the
always
time-
be like, "Oh my gosh, you're using these big words now,"
Yeah.
and would make her laugh and smile. But she would learn new words and use them, and we were just always just excited and happy for her
Good.
doing so good.
We've got a lot of exchange students. I've noticed scrolling up here, the students that may be coming next year or soon.
Hi, everybody.
What kind of advice would you give them about coming to a new country, a new school, a new host family? What would you tell the exchange students?
I would say, first of all, start the correspondence early. Get to know the people, get to know each other, and that way you can kind of get a comfort with the person before they come. So that they know them without actually seeing them. They get to know them a little bit, their likes, dislikes. I mean, in every way. That would be the first thing.
I think that helped with us. And Gaia was our first ever exchange student. So, but being able to send her a video of what the school looked like, and just so she kind of had an idea, and just being open with any questions that she had.
Familiarity,
Yeah, so I think all of that helped her and us as we got to learn each other before we actually met.
Right. So it wasn't like picking up a stranger at the airport. She knew what she was getting into, right?
Right. And we had individual, through the app,
WhatsApp.
through the WhatsApp. We had individual conversations too. Sometimes I would get to work and I would do the 6-hour difference. I mean, that's one thing you do got to consider it, because it's here it's 5:30, there it's 11:30 at night. So you got to keep that in mind. I would be, good evening, good night. Hope you sleep good. How's the weather there? Just simple things that may sound like you're taking them for granted, but to at least just to let them know you're thinking about them, and then just to kind of let them know that they're on your mind, and hopefully you're on their mind also.
Right.
So just little things like that. I would often just say, "Hey, I'm at work now. Good morning. Hope your day is good." That's it. Leave it at that. Just something simple.
Right.
How was your day? Was school hard? Just simple things like you would sometimes if you haven't seen your child in a while. Not even lengthy conversation, just kind of warming up, just let you know I'm thinking of you.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. So what about families that are going to be hosting for the first time? What kind of advice would you offer new host families that are about to start this same adventure? Y'all were here about this time last year, but getting ready to start yours. So what would you tell the new families?
I would say be on an even keel, first of all. Don't let your expectations be too high, and don't let them be too low either. But that's tough to do. I mean, granted, now looking back, but just take it day by day and really learn the person.
Mhm.
I think that was what made it easier for us, was we really got to know her and the correspondence with her mom, in particular, an occasional one with her dad before she ever got here. So
Mhm.
we had a sense of her as a child and as a person before she ever got here.
Good.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. We were so excited. We were just trying to get her room ready, and we were
Yeah.
decorating, and we were just waiting, and just I don't know.
The anticipation was probably a little more nerves for her. I was on an even keel. I mean, I was taking it day by day, but she was like, every day I hope it's. But that's a good thing because her
But
heart was so in
that's
it.
things that you worry.
Yeah.
Is she gonna like us?
Right.
You know, she's coming to Frankfort, Kentucky, which is a little bitty,
Mhm.
city and she ended up just loving it here. And
Mhm.
so I was just worried about certain things like that. And all of my
Yeah.
worries I had no reason to worry about them at all because it wasn't an issue ever.
Exactly. Angela, what you're saying, I hear so often from host families. They're worried. You know, you're at the airport. What if she doesn't like me? Well, they're
Yeah.
worried about the same thing when they're
Yeah.
getting off the plane, and
Yeah.
then worried. Will they like this town? And yeah, I found out that even the small towns, small town America, small schools, even the students love it because in small town America, they're like a little celebrity, and they love it. Then they got to go back
They are.
home to Italy
Yeah.
or Spain or whatever, and they're not a celebrity anymore.
That's one of the funny things too is I put everything on Facebook,
Yeah.
even with my own child. And then when Guy
Mhm.
came out, I was like, I'm sorry, Guy, I'm gonna be taking your picture all the time. You're gonna be on Facebook. Well, everyone in Frankfurt is on Facebook too. And so we would go to the grocery store and just random people would come up to her and just say, how's tennis going? Or how's it going with track? And she would answer them, but I would be like, you're such a celebrity here because everyone knows you, like, and everyone's following your story and our story. And she loved that, I
Yeah.
think, and we did too. And she was a celebrity here,
Yeah.
with the other girls who came because we had several that came from Italy. And so
What was a cool experience for her too is that it is a small town,
Mhm.
but it is the head of the government here for the state of Kentucky. And so that was an easy transition for her to kind of pick up on how American government and politics run too. So
Yeah.
within the first 2 weeks, she had the awesome opportunity of meeting the governor.
Oh,
Of
yeah,
the
I
state.
heard you have a wonderful coordinator that arranged that.
Yeah.
we did. Sandy was awesome.
So you
that
did
Picking that.
great.
So,
Mhm.
yes. Yeah.
Yes,
So
you
she
did.
still got a little bit of both of the small town atmosphere with the big government look
Mhm.
within a small town. So a little bit of a best of both worlds, because I know a lot of exchange students, they probably read up on American politics. So that kind of helped her. She was excited about seeing the historical buildings that have to do with politics. The state capitol, the governor's mansion, the
Right.
Capitol Annex building, and all the historical things that go with it.
Mhm.
So she got a little bit of best of both worlds in that regard. Small town, but yet still.
Good. And then y'all went on some vacations while she was here. Were you able to take her with you?
Oh yes, we took her on every vacation,
Yeah.
and she loved it. She loved to travel with us. We took her to New York City, and so she loved that trip. We went to Disney on New Year's Eve, and
Mhm.
which none of us knew that's the busiest day of the year at Walt Disney World, and it was so packed. And but we had a great time, and
We went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
we went to Gatlinburg.
Yep.
We traveled a lot in Kentucky. We were going to take her to Destin, Florida, but we had to cut that short when she went home for COVID-19. But
Right.
Chicago, we had planned a trip to Chicago
Mhm.
and to Memphis to take her, and she did a personal trip that her parents paid for to Arizona, to the Grand Canyon.
Right. One of the ETC trips. Yes.
Yes, from the
So
ATC trip.
she loved that too. And I also doxed it to other people's homes, and so she loved going with me and just seeing how other homes were and being with the animals too. She loved that too. So, I mean, we just took her in our lives. We explained to her that we were very busy, and she says she loved that, just being busy, and so we just did that, and she fell right in.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear a lot of families say, "Oh, we're too busy for exchange students."
I
But
said the same thing because I was scared that we were going to be too busy for her.
But
no,
were you? No.
no, she
Just drag her
loved
where
it.
you go.
Yes.
Yep. She acclimated it in perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think busy host families are great because the student stays active and doesn't give them
Right.
any time to be homesick. So, absolutely. So, a host family that's too busy, that's not an excuse, right?
No,
No,
I don't.
no, because we were pretty busy, but
Okay.
she did it
Yeah.
right with us.
And she busied herself too with her after school activities, running and track and playing tennis.
Right.
So at least 2-3 times a week, she was busy doing that. So she kept herself busy
Good.
and constantly doing something, you know. And then she'd come straight home and do her work. You know, she wasn't. We never had to say, "Did you do your homework? Did you do your work? Did you go over your?" Never had to do that. She was automatically jumped into it. She had her own set schedule in her mind that she did it. And
Right.
we know when she went off to her room, it was work time, and then she'd come out and it's back to family time.
Mhm.
But she was very disciplined in her work.
So, she was very balanced. The
Oh, yeah.
fun activities, studies, and family. So, that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
And she always volunteered to do stuff with us. She never said like, "No, I don't want to do that," or "I'm not interested." That was never a problem.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why she was such a part of your family, is because she did get involved and do whatever you were doing. So, absolutely. Well, y'all, let me just tell you, on behalf of ETC, we are so grateful that you chose to host Gaia this past year. We hope that you will host with us again and again. I've seen comments from Spanish kids. These Spanish kids, I think, are wanting you to host next year so they can come to your house. They keep saying, "Will you host a Spanish? Would you host a Spanish?" Spanish kids are fun. I've had one of those too. So it is fun to host from different countries because you do, like, you learn so much about Italy and the food. So, it's fun to learn that, take that, and learn it from other countries too. And also, I'm sure Sandy has told you, but another benefit for hosting is you've got a high school girl, Nikki. And so because you did such a great job hosting this year and you hosted with ETC as a volunteer host family, you can get the Presidential Volunteer Service Award. So that might be something that you may want for Nikki. Those college applications, scholarships, job applications, all that. Yeah. So we'll make sure that the families that host with us for the year have that opportunity. So like I said, you may want to offer it to Nikki, or you can keep it for yourself, whatever. It's up to you. But anyway, but Angela and Jim, we do at ETC, we greatly appreciate host families like you who have opened your home to what you may have at one time thought was a complete stranger, but now she is such a big piece of your heart and a big piece of your family. And you just can't imagine life without her. So we are very grateful to you and all of our host families. So
well, thank you. We're grateful to ETC too for this experience. It was amazing. Really was.
Good.
Hey, before you go, can we show you the picture?
Yes. Show me what picture. Yeah.
What picture?
What picture? Should I be nervous, Angela?
No, it's a family.
So this is a family photo of all of us.
Oh, I love it.
Myself, Angela, Gaia, and Nikki.
Great. Oh, I've got some family pictures like that with my kiddos too. You'll treasure that forever until you get the next one, until you see her again and you have to do a whole new family picture. So
it's exciting to think about. Yes. And we'll probably want to talk to you about that since you've done it multiple times. Awesome.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. When we hosted A Boy from Spain, I sent my son over to Spain for a month with him. Kind of returned the favor, and so that's something you'll definitely want to do with Nikki. Send her over there to Italy and let her stay with them for a while. Great.
That's definitely going to happen. Sorry, our puppy wants to be part of this call too.
That's fine. Well, Angela and Jim, thank you again for hosting with ETC, and thank you for taking time to,
Oh, yeah.
to let us get to know you and your great experience today.
Thank
So-
you.
And thank you, everyone that joined us. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.